There's some really big news here with the Mets in their front office. Here's from MetsMemorizedOnline.com. Report. Mets add Kris Gross, Andy Green to front office. Mets have hired Cubs bench coach Andy Green to a senior role for player development, according to Joel Sherman of the New York Post, which is interesting. Green went to the University of Kentucky and he was drafted by the Arizona Diamondbacks in the 24th round of the 2000 Major League Baseball draft. He bounced between the minors and the majors, had a one-year stint in Japan, and then finished his career as a Met in 2009. Since 2011, Green has been a coach in the majors. He once again worked his way through the minors, this time as a manager, and won back-to-back Southern League Manager of the Year awards in 2013 and 2014. Green was rewarded for his success. He was named the Padres manager before the start of the 26th season. Unfortunately, Green oversaw rebuilding Padres teams and lasted as the Padres manager from 2016 to 2019, where he compiled a 274-366 record. After being fired in 2019, Green was hired by the Cubs as a bench coach before the 2020 season. Before his hiring, Green was also interviewed by the Guardians for another position. Mets have tabbed Kris Gross, the current scouting director for the Houston Astros, as their new vice president of amateur scouting, according to Joe Doyle. Gross has spent the last 12 seasons working in Houston, including the previous 5 as their scouting director. In the 12 years in Houston, Gross worked first as a regional cross-checker, then a national cross-checker, and eventually his most recent role as scouting director. Gross broke into baseball in 2009 as a regional scout for the Cardinals. Gross worked with the new Mets president of baseball operations for 3 years, from the fall of 2012 to the fall of 2015, before Stearns left the Astros for the Brewers. In his time in Houston, the Astros have drafted and developed several All-Stars. However, specifically in his time as scouting director, the Astros have drafted Hunter Brown, Colin Barber, Spencer Arguetti, Jacob Melton, Bryce Matthews, and current Mets prospects Drew Gilbert and Ryan Clifford. Gross will slot into the Mets scouting department that has undergone significant changes over the last few years. Mark Tremuta left the Mets to return to the Blue Jays earlier in the winter. Former scout Chad McDonald, the person who scouted and drafted Brandon Nimmo, departed the team for personal reasons, along with 3 veteran scouts who were let go by Stearns. Gross is the first major office hire of the Stearns administration. Mets have several front office openings, including some high-profile positions, such as the vacant Director of Player Development. Now, he's from MLB Trade Rumors. Mets hire Andy Green in Player Development role. Mets have hired Andy Green for a senior role in their Player Development department, according to Joel Sherman of the New York Post. Earlier today, Sherman reported that Green had been fired from his previous job as the Cubs bench coach, but Sherman corrected himself by saying that Green wasn't fired, but that he turned down the Cubs' offer to remain as bench coach or in another job in the organization. This isn't the first link between Green and the Mets this winter, as it seems likely that the groundwork for his hiring was laid when Green interviewed for New York's managerial opening a few weeks ago. Though the Mets opted to hire Carlos Mendoza as their new skipper, obviously the club liked Green enough to still want him within the organization. With Craig Counsell unexpectedly supplanting David Ross as Chicago's new manager, Green might have decided it was also time for a change, as Green's stint as bench coach coincided with Ross's 4-year tenure as Wrigleyville manager. Green is no stranger to the Big Apple, as his last 3 seasons as a player were spent in the Mets organization, including his last 4 MLB Big League games in 2009. Upon retirement, he became a manager in the Diamondbacks farm system and then Arizona's third base coach for the 2015 season. Green was then hired to be the Padres manager, while initially overseeing a rebuilding San Diego club. It remains to be seen if this player development job could lead to a new career path for the 46-year-old Green, or he'll eventually look to return to an on-field role. Green's managerial aspirations obviously haven't left him, given his interviews with both the Mets and the Guardians within the last 2 months. Now, finally, in this video, just to sort of give you just a sort of broader view and just more of a closer view what's going on with the situation I have from SNY.TV. Mets adding Andy Green, Kris Gross to front office. Green spent the past 4 years as the Cubs bench coach. New president of baseball operations, David Stearns, continues to put his imprint on the organization, as the Mets are hiring Andy Green and Kris Gross to the front office, according to multiple reports. Green served as the Chicago Cubs bench coach under manager David Ross and was offered another position in the organization after Ross's firing, but decided to join the Mets in a senior role of player development, according to the New York Post. Gross would come to New York as the vice president of amateur scouting after spending the past 12 years with the Houston Astros, serving as director of amateur scouting for the past 3 seasons. Green served as the bench coach with the North Sliders for the past 4 seasons. Before that, he was the manager of the San Diego Padres from 2016 until 2019. Green had an interesting record at the National League West club. He also reportedly interviewed for the Mets' open managerial position, which was later filled by Carlos Mendoza. During his playing days, Green made 4 of his 140 big league appearances with the Mets in 2009. He began his coaching career in the minors in 2012 before serving as the third base coach with the Diamondbacks, the club he began his big league career with. In his most recent role with the Astros, Gross oversaw the domestic scouting department, and since joining Houston's scouting staff, the club has produced 58 players via the draft, more than any other organization. In Houston, Gross served as West Coast supervisor, national supervisor, and domestic scouting supervisor. After playing 3 seasons in the Cubs minor league system, Gross began his scouting career in the St. Louis Cardinals front office. So we got some very interesting guys. These are names that we've not heard of. Now, obviously, with David Stearns coming in, we're now starting to see people wanting to work for the Mets now. I don't know what the issue was. Maybe it's because there's so many Wilpon people in here, or maybe the fact that Stearns has a great reputation, and he's gotten rid of so much dead weight, not only on the 40-man roster, but in the minor league system, and, of course, in the front office. So this is great news, and hopefully they keep it up. And thank you for watching this video. Hit that subscribe button. I want to get to 1,000 subs by the end of this year, and hopefully you'll subscribe, and thank you, and I'll see you later. All right, from HaloHangout.com. Mets leave the door open for the Angels to steal 2 of their former top prospects. This is something the Angels should at least consider. Okay? Now, before we get into this video, I need you to hit that subscribe button if you want to know everything about the Mets prospects and how people look at their prospects, as well as what fans think of the team's younger players. At the trade deadline, the Angels made a difficult decision to go all in and try to win in 2023. This involved the team trading some of their best prospects. They did this with 2 goals in mind. 1, try and at the very least finish a winning record for the first time since 2015. 2, show Shohei Ohtani that they could field a winning team. Well, that didn't happen. Of course, the Angels failed to finish with a record close to 500. And there's a good chance they failed to convince him to remain with the franchise, which creates a whole set of problems. Finishing with a losing record and losing Ohtani would be tough, especially when the Angels traded several young prospects. 2 of the prospects they wound up moving were Jeremiah Jackson and Coleman Crowe. Both were sent to the Mets in separate deals at the trade deadline, in trades that netted the Angels Dominic Leone and Eduardo Escobar. It's safe to say Leone and Escobar brought just about nothing to the Angels, which of course was disappointing. Both Crowe and Jackson were left unprotected from this year's Rule 5 draft. The Angels have a rare opportunity to snag 2 of their former prospects if they so choose, and should strongly consider doing so. Now, they had a chance to put them on the Rule 5 draft, on their 40-man roster. They didn't do that either. The Angels can look to add a pair of their former top prospects in the Rule 5 draft. Selecting a player in the Rule 5 draft can be a bit of a tricky process. Once selected, that player must remain on the 26-man roster for the entire season, barring a stint on the injured list. This means you can't send a player down due to performance or other roster crunch concerns. If a team decides that it's had enough of a certain player and wants to send him down, they have to send him to another team. This makes it pretty unlikely the Angels select someone in the Rule 5 draft. They haven't done it much in the past, and there's no reason to believe that'll change. A player like Jackson still feels like a worthwhile player to gamble on. What's most intriguing about him is the fact he's extremely versatile in the field. Jackson's a middle infielder primarily, but also played third base and both corner outfield positions this past season. That kind of versatility is rare and really useful over the course of a 162-game season. Additionally, while strikeouts are a concern, Jackson put up solid numbers at Double-A this season. He slashed .252 with 22 homers and 80 RBIs, splitting time between Double-A Rocket City and Double-A Binghamton. He He had 27 stolen bases and 19 doubles as well. Coleman Crow's situation is easier for the Angels to get a handle on. He underwent Tommy John surgery, knocking him out for most, if not the entire 24 season. The Angels can easily select him, keep him on their 40-man roster this offseason, and then place him on the 60-day IL and stash him for the year. Come next season, when he's healthy, the Angels can hope he shows more signs of being a solid arm than like he did this past season when he posted a 1.88 ERA and 4 starts in Double-A. The Angels have a rare opportunity to right 2 wrongs by selecting 2 of their former prospects in the Rule 5 draft. They're not projected to be massive difference makers by any means, but could add some depth to a prospect pool that lacks any kind of substance. Now this is from MetsMinors.net. Go back to our Mets stuff. Centered. Roster news: Mets protect Ramirez from Rule 5. Lose Murphy on waivers. Now, this is about roster news. A lot of stuff happened this past week, and obviously this week with Thanksgiving coming up, we're going to have a whole bunch of moves coming up, I would think. New York Mets were involved in a series of roster moves on Tuesday, and what they didn't do was also notable. They also made a lot of moves with the non-tender deadline as well on Friday. The first news of the day came when the Atlanta Braves announced they had claimed right-handed reliever Penn Murphy off waivers from the Mets. The Mets had claimed Murphy off waivers from the Seattle Mariners 2 weeks ago. The 29-year-old reliever underwent surgery this past July to repair the UCL in his right elbow and is expected to miss the first half of the 2024 campaign. I would mention that the Braves non-tendered him a contract. So after they picked him up off of waivers, he's silly. They put him on. They non-tendered him, so he's now a free agent. So maybe the Mets will pick him up a second time. Prior to the Rule 5 protection deadline at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, the Mets announced that they added outfield prospect Alex Ramirez to the 40-man roster. Ramirez, coming up a rough 23 season, was the Mets' lone player added to the 40-man roster on Tuesday. The Mets' 40-man roster, as currently sits on Tuesday, it was 33 players. It is now 28 players as I record this video. The Mets chose to leave right-handers Justin Jarvis, Coleman Crow, and Joanda Suarez, a utility player, Jeremiah Jackson, off the 40-man roster and exposed them to the Rule 5 draft on December 6th. Jarvis was acquired from Marcana, Coleman Crow was acquired for Eduardo Escobar, and Jackson, Dominic Leone, were all traded for this year by the Billy Epler-led front office. So a lot of guys aren't on the Mets roster now that were picked up by Billy Epler in the last year. So it's very telling how the new president of baseball operations views some of these particular players. The proof's in the pudding. When you release a player, you're saying, I don't want him in my organization. And David Stern's come in here, and he has been just getting rid of a lot of dead weight in this organization. So you let me know what you think about this video. Hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. And watch the entirety of this video if you haven't already. And thank you for watching. Have a good day, and I'll see you later. Alright, from MetsMemorizedOnline.com, New York Mets Offseason Outlook Part 1. Now, we're going to talk a lot about Met prospects in this video, so please bear with me. And, of course, please hit that subscribe button to find out what is said in this article. Heading into the 2023-24 offseason, Mets find themselves in a unique situation. They currently have 4 all-star caliber players slated to play every day for them. Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, Brandon Nimmo, and Jeff McNeil. They also have 4 inexperienced Major League ready players who have all recently graduated from being the top 100 prospects. Francisco Alvarez, Brett Beatty, Ronnie Mauricio, and Mark Vientos. Lastly, they have 3 top 50 prospects who are all expected to make their MLB debuts at some point during the 2024 season. Drew Gilbert, Luis Angel Acuna, and Jett Williams. This unique situation makes constructing the 24 roster a bit complicated. On one hand, you want to provide your young players with every opportunity, and on the other hand, developmental trajectories are never linear, and ensuring you have ample support already on the roster is tantamount. Not only is it crucial for staying competitive through bouts of struggles, swatches of injury, but it's also important from a team-building perspective to have a competitive roster and that next man up mentality. For the first time during Steve Cohen's tenure, the Mets may not be a playoff contender next season. With a few large decisions looming, the long-term direction of the franchise seems very clear. Yet the 24 season is likely to be one of transition. The Mets have a handful of young position players already on the roster, and a few more who will be ready at some point during the season. They're probably hoping that while they might look worse on paper to start the season, by mid-season or later they will look more like the Orioles or Reds rather than the Pirates or the Nationals. The other elephant in the room is Shohei Ohtani, and the Mets' whole offseason strategy may hinge on his decision. Whether he decides to play for the Mets may play into the decision to push harder in free agency. Yet as things stand right now, it doesn't look like the Mets will make any large splashes in free agency this offseason. They may instead decide to go bargain shopping, looking for potential turnarounds and proven players who can provide above replacement level production until more of their young players are major league ready. According to the article, they wanted to break down what their 26-man roster looks like going into the offseason to see where they could potentially look to add in free agency, as well as into which prospects could impact the 24 season at different positions. Okay. At the catching position, Alvarez and Omar Narvaez. Infield, Pete Alonso, Ronnie Mauricio, Brett Beatty, Francisco Lindor, Mark Vientos, and Zach Short. Outfielder, Jeff McNeil, Brandon Nimmo, Starlin Marte, DJ Stewart. Starting pitching, Kodai Senga, Jose Quintana, Tyler McGill, Drew Smith, Josh Walker, Grant Hardwick, Reed Garrett, and Sean Reed Foley. As things stand immediately following the non-tender deadline, the Mets have 28 players on their 40-man roster, with a low possibility of Luis Angel Acuna or Alex Ramirez breaking camp with the team. They're currently looking at a long and difficult offseason. To say the least, trimming a whole third of a roster within a single month or so is more akin to fantasy sports than professional sports. Yet, as we have seen, Steve Cohen is willing to do things a little differently. The team is not yet very good, regardless of the amount of young talent. Overall, this roster should probably win somewhere between 70 and 75 games. So, we know that they won 75 games last year, which is 2023. The outfield, bullpen, and starters are all close to the bottom of the MLB, and the team could use some added versatility. With David Stearns in tow, he has been 100% power to strip down and build up as only he sees fit. Luckily, David Stearns is one of the best in the business, especially when it comes to quick turnarounds and acquiring undervalued assets. Now here we go with the minors. Prospect-wise, the organization is that Drew Gilbert and Luis Angel Acuna will be playing up the middle and leading off games in Syracuse to begin the season. It's hard to know exactly when they will be in Queens, when they will be Queens-bound, as they are both still developing and fine-tuning their skills. It is reasonably safe to say that at some point this season, they will be in Queens. Whether that happens in May or September is hard to predict. Syracuse rotation will feature Mike Vassell and Dominic Hamill, with Vassell having an outside chance of cracking the Mets rotation in spring training, albeit unlikely. The question is whether Christian Scott, the Mets' newly ranked number 1 pitching prospect by Baseball America, will be part of the Syracuse rotation as well. Following a downright dominant season which saw Scott cement himself as a borderline top 100 prospect, Scott may start the season in Binghamton as he's barely amassed 100 innings above low A ball. That being said, the 62 innings in which he did pitch in Binghamton were elite. He pitched to a 2.47 ERA line. You don't need to know the rest of it. The Syracuse bullpen will also be one to watch, with the likes of Bryce Montes de Oca, Eric Orsi, and left-handed Nate Lavender repeating the level. A slew of newcomers will join them as they start the season in AAA. Headlined by Paul Gervasi, who took the Mets system by storm and dominated both high plus and double A to the tune of 2.05 ERA. Gervasi has nasty stuff, and my bet is we will see him in Citi Field sooner rather than later. The other future bullpen arms in AAA are Trey McLaughlin, who's outstanding in Double A and posted a swing strike rate of 17%. Dylan T-Break and Brendan Hardy. In Binghamton, Mets will have another handful of future bullpen pieces that can all be potentially move fast and make the majors by April 2025 at the latest. Those names include Ramon Gomez, Eli Aniki, Jeffrey Colon, and Saul Garcia. This is the largest crop of upper-level bullpen arms the Mets have compiled possibly ever, and is an exciting, underrated part of a burgeoning farm system. The Mets will have a few more known names on their AAA roster worth mentioning, barring losing them in the Rule 5 draft. These include the recently acquired Jeremiah Jackson and Justin Jarvis, as well as Matt Ruddick, Brandon McIlwain, and Luke Ritter. These players are most likely depth major league pieces at best, and some may never even make it that far. The Double-A team will also have some noteworthy names like prospect Jet Williams, who will continue to refine his game while playing second, short, and center field. If he can continue his top-flight performance in all aspects of the game, he could be in the big leagues before too long. Ken Parada, Ryan Clifford, Blake Tidwell, Tyler Stewart, Coleman Crowe, all of the Mets' top 20 prospect list, and will all be integral parts of the Rumble Ponies team to start the season. Now, to finish this article. With an immense crop of young talent knocking on the doors, it's hard to imagine the Mets acquiring any of the headline players available this offseason. Guys like Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Tyler Glasnow, and Juan Soto will be available to differing extents. Premium players command a premium, and the Mets are still in the midst of a farm restock. When the Mets are on the precipice of perennial contention and can be flexible with their roster, it's a time to make these moves. What the Mets do need to do is to fill out their roster with a blend of high upside players who require coaching and development, yet will only need short-term commitment. The kind of commitment that, if it doesn't work out, will not prevent players like Acuna, Gilbert, and Jet Williams from receiving at-bats at the major league level. Additionally, the Mets need a few reliable players, the kind of players who can play every day, who are assets in the clubhouse and make the manager's job easier. The kind of guy who, if pressed into full-time duty, can be an average big leaguer, yet willing to succeed their starting spot if a younger, more talented player does arrive. In the following parts of the series, we'll go through different things here, but let me know what you think about this video. It's a very fascinating kind of look at the Mets in a more in-depth way, not only at the big league level, but also in the farm level too. And that's what this channel is all about. So please hit that subscribe button. This is the kind of stuff you want to learn about. So I'm learning about it too. So we're all learning this stuff all together. So we're all in this together as Met fans. And thank you for watching. And I'll see you later. From MetsMerizedOnline.com. Headline: How prospects Mets acquired at the deadline did this year. Now, before we get into this video, I need you to hit that subscribe button so you can learn everything you want to learn about the Mets prospects, who's in the system, who's going to be in the system, and really how the Mets are going to rebuild this club. The New York Mets were quite active during the past trade deadline, but not in the way that most fans envisioned them entering the 2023 season. Here's a look at how all the Met prospects the Mets acquired a few months ago ended up faring in their new organization. First up, shortstop Luis Angel Acuna. Acuna arrived in a trade that sent Max Scherzer to the eventual World Series champion Texas Rangers. He had .243 with a .622 OPS in 37 games for Binghamton, a sharp decline from the .315 and .830 OPS he posted in his first 84 games of the season. He stole 15 bases in those 37 games and was caught stealing 5 times. Acuna's overall stats during the 2023 season were still quite impressive. He had .294, .359, .410 slash line with 57 stolen bases and 93 runs scored. He projects as a top-of-the-lineup bat with incredibly strong base-stealing skills and relatively modest power upside. 34 homers in 374 career minor league games. He is the Mets minors' top prospect as of early September, and he was number 57 on Baseball America's top 100 prospects. Outfielder Drew Gilbert and first baseman outfielder Ryan Clifford. Gilbert and Clifford were both acquired in the deal that sent Justin Verlander back to the Houston Astros. Gilbert posted a .325, .423, .561 slash line in 35 games for Binghamton, hitting 6 homers and driving in 21 runs. Clifford hit .188 with a .683 OPS in 32 games for Brooklyn, hitting 6 homers and driving in 20 runs. Gilbert was sensational all season, and he found another gear upon joining the Mets organization. He finished the year with a .868 OPS and 18 homers, while playing excellent defense across multiple outfield positions. He will enter his age 23 season in 24 as perhaps the organization's most major league ready outfield prospect. Clifford started out his tenure with the Mets on a really strong foot, but he really struggled down the stretch. He still managed to slug 24 homers on the year and posted a strong 854 OPS in his age 19 season. The strikeout numbers are a bit concerning, 140 115 games in 2023, but the power is legit and certainly plays at first base or a corner outfield spot. Gilbert and Clifford appeared at number 78 and 89 on Baseball America's recent Top 100. They're number 2 and number 5 in the Mets system according to Mets minors. Shortstop Marco Vargas and catcher Ronald Hernandez. Vargas and Hernandez were both acquired in the deal that sent David Robertson to the Miami Marlins. Vargas hit .234 with a .666 OPS in 15 games in rookie ball following the trade before collecting 8 hits and 26 at-bats at St. Lucie to close out the year. Hernandez saw much more success, posted a .995 OPS in 14 rookie ball games, but hitting just 172 in 8 games for St. Lucie. Vargas finished his age 18 season with 52 walks in 53 games, contributing to a stellar .432 on-base percentage. Hernandez was equally impressive in his age 19 season, drawing 53 walks in 53 games and posting .452 on-base percentage. Both players are likely to start the season in 2024 in St. Lucie and will be among the most intriguing prospects in the lower levels of the Mets minor league system. They were both named two of the top 20 prospects in the Florida Complex League this year. Utility man Jeremiah Jackson. Jackson was acquired in the trade that sent Dominic Leone to the Los Angeles Angels. Jackson posted an .802 OPS in 37 games with Binghamton, hitting 7 homers and collecting 6 stolen bases. He finished the season with 22 homers and 27 stolen bases, 119 games, although he did strike out 144 times. Jackson provided impressive positional flexibility in short stint with the Rumble Ponies, making at least 2 starts at 5 different positions. He's had a consistently high strikeout rate throughout his career, but he continues to demonstrate impressive power. The Mets opted not to protect him in the upcoming Rule 5 draft. Infielder Jeremy Rodriguez. Rodriguez was acquired in the trade that sent Tommy Pham to the National League pennant-winning Arizona Diamondbacks. He had .422 with a 1247 OPS in 13 games in the Mets affiliate in the Dominican Summer League. The 17-year-old infielder finished the 23 season with an .878 OPS, 18 extra base hits, and 19 stolen bases in 51 games. There are obviously a whole bunch of variables when discussing a player this young and this early into his career, but the early returns have all been exceedingly encouraging. Rodriguez will still be 17 through the first half of the 24 season, with plenty more opportunities to keep this positive momentum going. Right-handed pitcher Justin Jarvis. Jarvis arrived in the trade to send Mark Canha to the Milwaukee Brewers. He made 9 starts for Syracuse, posting an 8.04 ERA across 31 and a third innings with 36 strikeouts. He finished the season with a 5.31 ERA and 26 starts, racking up 138 strikeouts and 118 two-thirds innings on the mound. Jarvis has had high strikeout rates but also high walk rates in each of the last 2 seasons, and he has also been very susceptible to the home run ball. He will be entering his age 24 season in 24 with a career 8.79 ERA at the AAA level. The Mets opted not to protect him in the upcoming Rule 5 draft. Right-handed pitchers Landon Marceau and right-handed pitcher Coleman Crowe. Marceau and Crowe arrived in the trade that sent Eduardo Escobar to the Los Angeles Angels. Marceau made 6 starts across 3 levels of the minors for the Mets, allowing 14 earned runs across 17 and a third innings. He finished the season with a 5.50 ERA and 18 starts. Crowe did not appear on the mound following the trade and made just 4 starts all season, undergoing Tommy John surgery in August. He looked fantastic when he was on the mound, posting a 1.88 ERA and 4 starts with 31 strikeouts. Crowe appears to be the more complete prospect, but Marceau has far more professional pitching experience under his belt. Mets opted not to protect either player in the upcoming Rule 5 draft. From MetsMinors.net, Mets signed right-handed pitcher Cole Sulser to a minor league deal. So we'll cover some of the minor leaguers that get signed by the Mets And, because a lot of these guys, we're going to see them at some point. The New York Mets announced on Monday that they signed right-handed pitcher Cole Sulser to a minor league contract with an invitation to Major League spring training. Sulser, a 33-year-old veteran, was drafted in 2013 in the 25th round at pick number 741 by the Cleveland Indians, where he spent 5 seasons in the minor leagues before being traded to the Tampa Bay Rays in 2018. He spent the 2019 season with Tampa, making his MLB debut that season. Following the 2019 season, he was claimed off of waivers by the Baltimore Orioles, where he spent the next 2 seasons. In 2020, he was 1-5 with a 5.56 ERA. He struck out 19 over the course of 22 2/3 innings pitched. He was 5-4 with a 2.70 ERA in 2021 with the Orioles, striking out 73 over the course of 63 1/3 innings pitched. At the start of the 2022 season, Sulser was traded from Baltimore to the Marlins, where he spent the entirety of that season and fluctuated between AAA Jacksonville and the big league club, after spending time on the injured list and making rehab assignments with single-A Jupiter. During his time with Miami in 2022, he was 1-4 with a 5.29 ERA. He struck out 38 over the course of 34 innings pitched. He gave 39 hits, 20 earned runs, and 6 homers. He had a whip of, in 2022, 1.62. Most recently, after being claimed off waivers at the end of the 22 season, Sulser spent the 23 season with the Arizona Diamondbacks. He had no record with a 6.75 ERA. He only pitched in 4 games due to injury. Struck out 4 and gave up 5 hits and 4 earned runs and 5 1/3 innings in 2023. Now, in this part of the video, we're going to do something a little unusual because last year when the Mets signed Kodai Senga, he was put on a lot of prospect lists. So this is a potential prospect, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and this is his free agent profile from Metsmerized Online. So I'm going to go through this and just give you an idea. So he could be a guy that the Mets could sign this offseason, and he's talking to teams now. Yoshinobu Yamamoto posted one of, if not the best statistical season in Nippon professional baseball history as a starting pitcher for the Oryx Buffaloes in 2023. He ended his season with a dominant complete game in the Japan series where he led Oryx to a 5-1 victory before his team ultimately fell in Game 7. He struck out 14 batters in the game, which set a Japan series record previously held by Yu Darvish with 13 strikeouts years ago. His pitching repertoire includes a 95-mile-per-hour fastball, a plus slider, and his best pitch, the forkball. Similar to current Mets pitcher Kodai Senga's ghost fork, it has been Yamamoto's put-out pitch. In 7 seasons playing in the Nippon Professional Baseball League, he posted a career 1.72 ERA and 967 2/3 innings. He has thrown 2 career no-hitters, including one on September 9th this season, where he also struck out 14 batters. His stuff is top-notch and will likely be an impact from day one whenever he signs. Now, before we leave this video, I need you to hit that subscribe button so you know everything that's going on with the New York Mets. If the Mets sign Yamamoto, he will become a big part of this channel because scouting reports will come up and be looked upon in certain publications as a rookie. So he'll be considered a prospect, and that will boast in the Mets farm system in a huge, and I mean a huge way. And let me know what you think about this video. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you later. This is from MetsMinors.net. Headline, review of Mets 2023 draft picks first season. Now, we talk about Mets prospects on this channel. So if you want all the information you could possibly get on Mets prospects, no commentary, just information by me, hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs on this channel and try to get this channel finally completely monetized. So during the 2023 MLB draft, the Mets selected a total of 23 players, including 7 within the first 4 rounds. The Mets agreed to deals with their first 14 draft selections and 20 overall, with college pitchers Brady Kurtner and Christian Little and prep pitcher Gavin Jones choosing to forego signing with the team. Most but not all of the draft choices selected to sign made their brief pro debuts during the 2023 season, and the Mets are hoping that for some it was the start of a long and successful career for the organization. Let's take a look at how the Mets' 2023 draft picks did during their first taste of Pro Bowl. In the first round, number 32 overall, Colin Houck, shortstop. The Mets' first selection in the draft played in just 10 games in his first professional season, all at the Florida Complex League Mets. Though he primarily played shortstop, Houck spent 2 games at third base and another at second base, demonstrating his defensive versatility. He did commit 4 errors, including 2 at short in his first game of the season. At the plate, Houck slashed .273 and recorded 4 RBIs. Through 33 at-bats, Houck recorded just 1 extra base hit, a triple, but demonstrated good eye at the plate by walking 7 times. He also struck out 9 times and scored stealing on his only stolen base attempt. Number 2, 56th overall, right-handed pitcher Brandon Sprout. The Mets failed to sign Sprout after selecting him in the 3rd round of the 2022 draft, and they wouldn't let him get away again, this time coming to a deal with him after selecting him in the 2nd round of the 2023 draft. Sprout didn't make his professional debut with the club this season, however, as he was coming off a senior season with the Florida Gators in which he hit through a career-high 106 in the 3rd innings. In the 3rd round, 91st overall, a right-handed pitcher DH two-way player, Nolan McLean. The two-way player out of Oklahoma State demonstrated his ability both with the bat and on the mound between the Florida Complex League Mets and the low-A St. Lucie Mets. In very limited action, McLean struggled at the plate with 125 to 24 plate appearances. Some positives take away the player that he clubbed a home run in the 6 games that he played and also recorded at least 1 walk in each of those games. McLean saw some more success on the mound, although in another very limited sample size he took the mound twice, both times for the Florida Complex Mets, and allowed just 1 run and 3 1/3 innings pitched. He also allowed just 1 hit, struck out 2, and walked 2 in those appearances. Another 3rd rounder, 101st overall, Cade Morris, right-handed pitcher. The Mets' 2nd pick of the 3rd round also saw very limited time on the field between both the Florida Complex Mets and the low-A St. Lucie Mets. With the Florida Complex Mets, Morris made just 1 appearance, allowing a run in 1 inning pitched. His next appearance came nearly a month later with the St. Lucie Mets, where he went further into the game. He threw 2 1/3 innings pitched and allowed a run on 1 hit and 2 walks, while striking out 3. In the 4th round, the 123rd overall, Wyatt Hoodpole. The Mets agreed to terms with their first pick in the 4th round with a slightly underslot deal. Like Sprout, however, Hoodpole didn't make his pro debut this season as he was coming off a season with UNC Charlotte in which he threw 105 1/3 innings. In the 4th round, 134th overall, A.J. Ewing, a shortstop. Mets signed his prep middle infielder to an overslot deal, and he actually didn't play any shortstop with the Florida Complex Mets. Ewing spent most of his time at second base, but also saw some action in left and center. Ewing demonstrated impressive discipline at the plate in just 21 plate appearances, recording 4 hits and 5 walks, a .524 on-base percentage, and an .881 OPS. Another 4th rounder, 135th overall, Austin Trescher. The Mets had back-to-back compensation picks in the 4th round, using the first to take Ewing and the second to take this pitcher out of Missouri. Trescher pitched just 1 inning for the Florida Complex Mets this season, and although he allowed a walk and a hit by pitch, he recorded all 3 of his outs via the strikeout. In the 5th round, the 159th overall, Zach Thornton, left-handed pitcher. He did not pitch for the Mets organization in 2023. He pitched 88 1/3 innings in his season at Grand Canyon before pitching 10 more innings in the MLB Draft League. In the 6th round, 186th overall, Jack Winninger, right-handed pitcher. Now, I would mention I have a playlist of all these players and all their scouting reports, that I was able to find online. Every single player in this draft in 2023 has a video done by myself talking about what they do well and what they don't do well. In the 6th round, overall 186th pick, Jack Winninger, right-handed pitcher. Although he also pitched 80-plus innings in his 2023 collegiate season and again in the MLB Draft League, Winninger did make his pro debut with the Mets. The pitcher made 1 appearance for the Florida Complex Mets, striking out 1 batter in a clean inning. He then made his final appearance of the year with the St. Lucie Mets, where he threw for 1 1/3 innings and allowed 2 runs on a hit and 2 walks while striking out 3. In the 7th round, another right-handed pitcher, 216th overall, Noah Hall. The Mets' 7th-round pick out of South Carolina did not make his pro debut in 23. He had recorded a 3.29 ERA during the first half of his collegiate season before missing the rest of the season with back injuries. Number 8 in the draft, Boston Barrow, shortstop. Barrow played all over the infield of the Florida Complex Mets, spent time at second base, third base, and shortstop. The 18-year-old impressed the plate in just 24 plate appearances. He recorded 6 hits, 2 of which were doubles, 2 RBIs. He hit .316. He also managed to walk 5 times while walking out and striking out just once. In the 9th round, the Mets selected third baseman Nick LaRusso. The 22-year-old LaRusso started his career with the low-A St. Lucie Mets. Bypassing rookie ball, he recorded a larger sample size at the plate than most on the list. But it wasn't pretty. At 89 at-bats with St. Lucie, he didn't record a single home run and endured a slash line of 169, 250 on base, 270 slug, 520 OPS. Pro Bowl was clearly an adjustment for LaRusso, who had recorded 26 home runs and a 1211 OPS in his final collegiate season. In the 10th round, the Mets selected catcher Christian Prejean. Another one of the Mets' older draft selections, Prejean also started out with the low-A St. Lucie Mets, but did end his year in high-A Brooklyn. He struggled at both levels, recording a 538 OPS and 13 plate appearances in low-A, before recording a 421 OPS and 26 plate appearances in high-A. In the 11th round, the Mets selected right-handed pitcher Brett Banks. Banks appeared in 3 games at the Florida Complex Mets. The reliever allowed just 1 run over 2 2/3 innings, recording 2 walks and no hits allowed. He also struck out 3 batters. In the 13th round, the Mets selected Ben Simon, a right-handed pitcher. The righty reliever pitched in 6 games across 2 levels during the 2023 season. With the Florida Complex Mets, Simon appeared in 2 games and pitched 1 2/3 innings. He didn't allow a run on a walk, and he struck out 2 while allowing 1 hit. He had a rougher go of it with low-A St. Lucie, although 9 runs over 4 2/3 innings pitched. He walked 2 batters, allowed 8 hits, and struck out 7. In the 14th round, the Mets selected John Valley, a right-handed pitcher. He's from Thomas Jefferson High School from Tampa, Florida. He did not pitch. In the 15th round, the Mets selected from NC State 22-year-old Justin Lawson. Again, he did not pitch this year for the Mets. In the 16th round, the Mets selected third baseman Jake Centella. The 18-year-old spent limited time with the FCL Mets, mostly as a first baseman, though he did play some third base and even served as the designated hitter for a game. Centella struggled in 21 plate appearances, posting a 167 batting average and a 508 OPS. In the 17th round, the Mets selected Bryce Jenkins, a right-handed pitcher. The 22-year-old out of Tennessee pitched limited innings between the Florida Complex Mets and low-A St. Lucie Mets in 2023. In rookie ball, he pitched in 2 games for a total of 1 1/3 innings. He allowed 1 run while walking 1 and striking out another. In low-A, Jenkins appeared in 3 games and struggled by allowing 5 runs, 4 earned, over 2 2/3 in those appearances. He walked 3 and struck out 3. And finally, with their final pick, 606th overall in the 20th round, outfielder Kellum Clark. Mets' final selection of the 2023 draft impressed the plate across rookie ball and low-A. With the FCL Mets, Clark recorded 885 OPS across 38 plate appearances, walking 10 times and striking out 7 times. In St. Lucie, he recorded 726 OPS across 49 plate appearances, also knocking a home run in that span. So again, hit that subscribe button if you want to learn everything you could possibly learn about the Met prospects that they have in their farm system. And I will find every bit of information. I give you the information. You decide what you want to do with it. No commentary here. I don't do that. I've not seen these players. I just want to talk about them. I love reading this stuff, and I'm learning about these players just like you are as I'm reading it. So let me know what you think about this video. Of course, please subscribe to the Prospect Hut, and I'll see you later. Now, here's a little add-on to this video. This is from MetsMinersAgain.net. Mets signed pitcher Joseph Yarbrough to a minor league deal. I will follow these minor league players just to give you little tidbits on them. According to Mike Meyer of Mets Mirage Online and Mets Minors, New York Mets has signed right-handed pitcher Joseph Yarbrough to a minor league deal. Yarbrough was originally signed by the Minnesota Twins in 2019 as a 16-year-old international free agent. Baseball America described Yarbrough as a top pitcher the Twins added during the 2019-2020 signing period. Back in 2019, when he was signed, Baseball America noted that Yarbrough reached 91 miles per hour in his fastball with inconsistent control, but by the end of the Dominican Instructional League, he was touching 94 and was beginning to show better control of the pitch. Along with his fastball, he also mixed in a slider and a changeup. His slider was noted as having an ability to miss bats. Yarbrough never threw a pro pitch during his time with Minnesota and was released by the organization in 2022. In November of last year, the Mariners signed him to a minor league contract. According to Fangraphs, Yarbrough was ranked 31st in the Seattle Mariners system with a fastball that sits around 94 to 96 miles per hour and his top 98 miles per hour. While he hasn't shown consistency yet with his release or his breaking ball, his arm strength makes him a player to keep an eye on. In 2023, the 20-year-old was 2-0 with 3.60 ERA in 12 games pitched in the Dominican Summer League. He gave up 800 runs, walked 11, and struck out 28, 20 innings pitched. He ended with a year with a 176 average against and a 1.20 whip. Now, this little bit of information tells you probably why they signed him. Yarbrough is the cousin of current Mets prospect Luis Angel Acuna and the National League reigning MVP Ronald Acuna Jr. So, it's a little information about this particular player. Every player I try to find information on, I will put it in this video and in this channel. So if this is stuff that you want to hear about, hit that subscribe button. Thank you, and I'll see you later. From RisingApple.com, Mets prospect Rowdy Jordan had a semi-breakout year in 2023. The year wasn't monstrous, but it caught our attention. Now, before we get into this video, please hit that subscribe button if you want to learn everything you can possibly learn about every Met prospect, minor leaguer, everybody that's getting signed in the offseason, that's getting a minor league contract, all the different machinations going on in the front office, particularly with the farm system. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll have another thing about the scouting department with the Mets, and Mets hired another person for the scouting department. Rowdy Jordan came to the New York Mets in the 2021 MLB draft in the 11th round. He has never been a sure thing to make it to the majors. It's not for lack of effort, though. Jordan, while not a major Mets prospect, was at least capable of doing do things very well in 2023 to the point where we have to consider it a semi-breakout campaign. Switch-hitting 24-year-old spent the whole year with Double-A Binghamton, playing most of his time at second base and in center field as well as other positions. It's not completely unusual for a minor leaguer to roam around defensively. What makes Jordan stand out is how well he did on the other side of the ball. In his 509 plate appearances for the Rumble Ponies, Jordan slashed .230 with 344 on base percentage, 389 slugging percentage. He hit 13 home runs, which came as a pleasant surprise considering he never had more than 10 in any season, including his days at Mississippi State. More notable is how powerful his legs became. Jordan was often running, stealing 30 bases, and getting caught 5 times. Mets prospect Rowdy Jordan deserves our attention. Okay, he's got my attention, and you should have your attention too by subscribing to this channel. The ability to play multiple positions, especially center field, already puts Jordan into the conversation of having a bench role somewhere in the big leagues one day. Adding growing power and tremendous speed, is easy to see how the Mets could always turn to him in a time of need. Jordan does suffer the same way many young players do, in that strikeouts visit a little too frequently. He has 236 of them since joining the Mets organization in 246 games. In each of his 3 seasons, the number has been pretty balanced with slightly less than a strikeout per game. His ability to get on base helps make up for a little bit. He now owns a 344 on base percentage as a professional. 65 walks and 12 hits by pitches helped him here. It's not a new weapon of his. The hit by pitches is nothing new. He was nailed 17 times as a senior. The expectation for Jordan next year should be for him to begin the year in AAA, where he'll enter a year of either hitting into a wall or plowing through it. For prospects like him, it's important to note that their Rule 5 eligibility, Jordan won't be in that mix until December 2024. By then, the Mets will have to decide whether or not to protect him. Carlos Cortez has had a similar career on the farm for the Mets, and yet he has regularly gone unprotected. The same could happen with Jordan. As much as we appreciate the ability to play multiple positions, some players not having anywhere to play puts them on the outs. Jordan is unlikely to suddenly become a major prospect, however. It's the speed the team finds themselves in need of later this year. He's one of the top options they can turn to. Okay, this is from SI.com. New York Mets hire Phillies instructor to guide minor league hitters. The New York Mets are hoping the former Philadelphia Phillies hitting instructor can help their young players in 2024. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Now, of course, please hit that subscribe button. New York Mets made what could be a key hire to its minor league staff by luring Kevin Mahala away from the Philadelphia Phillies on Wednesday. Mahala will be the Mets minor league hitting coordinator, per the New York Post, and is another hire by new president of baseball operations, David Stearns, who's hoping to improve the organization's overall hitting at the minor league level. The prospect development will be key to the Mets' future at the plate. 8 of the Mets' top 10 prospects from MLB.com are hitters, including the 3 prospects they acquired in trades at the deadline: Luis Angel Acuna, Drew Gilbert, and Ryan Clifford. That list also includes 2023 Mets Minor League Player of the Year, Jet Williams. Acuna, Gilbert, and Clifford are 3 players that could be ready to join the Mets as soon as 2024, with Williams potentially a call-up in late 24 or 25. Before joining the Mets, Mahala spent 4 seasons with the Phillies, starting his tenure as a player information assistant before he was promoted to an offensive development analyst. He became an upper-level hitting coordinator and development analyst for the Phillies a year ago. Before he joined the Phillies, he played 2 seasons of minor league baseball in the Pittsburgh Pirates organization after he was an 18th round pick out of George Washington, and 2 seasons of minor league baseball with the West Virginia Black Bears and the West Virginia Power. He slashed .243 with 6 home runs, 45 RBIs. He's also named a 2016 New York Penn League All-Star. With George Washington, he played 3 seasons of college ball and hit .264 with 7 home runs and 90 RBIs. And before we end this video, I need you to hit that subscribe button. Getting awfully close to 800 subs. Got to hit that subscribe button if you want to know everything you can about the Mets prospects. You get regular videos, and I give you the best information I can find online. And of course, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.